You're listening to Stuck in the Middle Radio Show with Violet and Butter, Truthcast Radio Network. Get ready for some rocking tunes and wild stories straight from the heart. This is where it all goes down. With Julian.
You know, we're gathering as in masses in the millions, and we're on blogs, we're in discussion groups, we're all discussing the plan of what we're going to do in 2024. It is going to be a brand new United States, a clean, a well-organized, they follow the laws US of A, and it's all going to be run by our great leader, the beautiful, the wonderful Donald Trump.
Oh, boy.
He gets us. He understands what we want, and that previous caller basically said it all. We are in discussion. We are.
You are what?
We're getting together. We're in masses. We're in groups. The snowflake liberals are all going to be crying. They're going to be just totally in submission in 2024 because we are taking over our country. Thank you for that last caller. Thank you so much. Go Donald Trump 2024. Love it!
Well, there you go. Now I won't hear, well, I'm going to still hear, but a lot of people continue to call me up and complain that I don't give equal time to both sides. And that's one thing I definitely do. I mean, it goes both ways. Left side says I don't give enough time for them, and then same thing with right side. I mean, those are your opinions, and you can definitely support and back up whoever you're supporting. Doesn't mean I have to agree with you, because that last call, I definitely don't agree. Thank you very much. Hello?
I just don't know why there is no more than two parties in this country. The two-party system just seems to be out of control. And now we have two old men running for president, and neither party wants their candidate to become president because they're too old. Age. It's horrible. Why isn't there a third party, and why don't third parties work? Please answer that for me, Helen. I need to know these kind of situations. Thank you very much.
You know, I got to say, I do agree, and there's a lot more people in this country that are agreeing that we need to get some kind of other party into the mix. And it's been time and time since it's been getting more radical with the left and right. And as we see them become more radical, the centrists and the moderates are becoming tired of just the clown show that's been going on. I mean, the total clown show. And there's so many examples of it. And the latest one has been with this Hunter Biden thing. You know, this thing with, these things with the Republicans trying to get President Joe Biden impeached because the great Donald Trump, their leader, told them, I don't want to be the only one impeached. Impeach Joe Biden. And they said, yes, sir. And that's what they're doing right now with this whole Hunter Biden thing. So they're trying to connect Hunter Biden, with Joe Biden so they can impeach him because that's what Donald Trump wants. But to answer your question, yes, I think there is going to be a third party very soon. Now, I don't think there should be a candidate for 2024, because that will definitely give the election to Donald Trump, and that's for sure, because a third-party candidate cannot sum up enough votes to win. The only thing they can do is take away votes, and usually when that happens, they take away votes from the Democrats, because the bottom line is that Trump has a base. He has a solid, dedicated base that will never do anything against Donald Trump. They will never go against him. They will never vote against him. He has millions of these people. So what happens is if there was like a third party candidate, they would split up the Democratic Party. But a third party is growing. It's getting larger. People are becoming more convinced that the two-party system is not working because of the back and forth, and the left and right convince them this more and more each day. And then the clown show we see in Congress, like we just saw with this ridiculous Hunter Biden investigation that they're doing. Such a waste of money, such a waste of time. There's so many other things that are important to Americans than this ridiculous Hunter Biden thing. And I got to say, the left, the Democrats, did say a lot of things that made sense about this when this was all going on. Listen to this.
So seriously, is this a joke?
Let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee.
Here is the subpoena to Representative Scott Perry, who did not comply. I'd like to enter this into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mark Meadows. I'd like to enter this into the record, who did not comply.
In every single hearing, y'all spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth.
You guys have been taken over by an absolute con man, and now you're acting like members of a religious cult who don't even remember how you got in the first place.
Showing dick pics in this committee room.
Here is the subpoena to Jim Jordan, who did not comply with a lawful subpoena. I'd like to enter that into the record. Here is the subpoena to Mo Brooks, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record.
We are here because my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have no positive agenda to run on. They have not accomplished one thing in their year in the majority to improve the lives of the people around this country.
But instead, you want to play games because you found out that it was your leader that decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country. So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't.
Here is the subpoena to Mr. Biggs, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record. And here's the subpoena to Mr. McCarthy, who did not comply. I'd like to enter that into the record.
Like, how dumb do you think the American people are that you would seek to hold someone in contempt when you are 608 days, 15 hours, 21 minutes, and 47 seconds out of compliance of your own subpoena?
I think it's really important to remember that when the word hypocrisy is thrown around by some of our friends on the other side of the aisle.
And Donald Trump converted the presidency into an instrument for self-enrichment. He raked in millions of dollars from the most corrupt governments on earth.
So getting to the truth was never their actual goal.
See, this is just another example of you only play the stuff for the left. You never play stuff for the right. It's constantly just the left. This is another example. All those tags that you just did are only from the Democrats and not the Republicans.
Well, yeah, it's simply for the fact that I don't agree with this thing that's going on in Congress, and the thing that's going on is being run by the Republicans. That's the bottom line. So if you want to hear from these Republicans, all you have to do is simply go watch this clown show, and then you can hear from them side.
Well, that's what makes me sick. It's just the fact that you are always putting down Republicans. I never hear you putting down the Democrats, and it's constantly attacking the wonderful Donald Trump and never Joe Biden. And it's just continual.
Well, then you got to listen to the show, because I have definitely made a lot of comments about Joe Biden and his health conditions and his mental conditions and the way he walks and the way he looks like he's always on Quaaludes. And it's funny how you miss that, but you hear all the stuff that I say about Trump.
Well, because I've never heard the Joe Biden thing. I only hear about Trump. That's all I hear. It's how bad Trump is, and Biden just the most amazing
okay,
thing.
Well, all I got to say is listen to the show a little bit more, because you'll understand that I pretty much give equal billing around here. And there's other things that I've talked about Democrats. Menendez and his wonderful spending habits. Did you catch any of that? The crook that was taking a lot of money? I mean, tune in. That's all I can say is you got to listen. If you don't listen, you're not going to catch all of this.
I listen, and I hear everything that you say, and it's all attacking the Republicans. I'm not listening anymore, because that's all you do is attack Republicans.
Okay, well, all I can say is thanks for listening. Wow. Love ya. So I wanted to also, with this thing that's going on with this Hunter Biden investigation in this committee, and I do agree with what some of those Congress people were saying. I wouldn't trust them going behind closed doors. Just like Hunter Biden said, he has no problem testifying, but he's not going to do it behind closed doors. I mean, you can imagine what these people are going to see. The bottom line is people wonder, why do they want to do it behind closed doors? And the bottom line is they want to do it behind closed doors so they can come out and say, he said that, he said this, and it's going to be not true. That's going to be the bottom line. And not only that, they don't want to do it in public and because they have no evidence. There's things that they're going to address with Hunter Biden in private, and they're going to come out with some stuff that's just not true or they have no evidence, but they would look ridiculous if they did it in public. So, I mean, that's the whole story behind that, and Hunter Biden knows that. He can read them like a book. So those Democrats were definitely, they were right on that point. Also, here's a little segment too, speaking about all this disaster and how these people are just basically doing whatever Donald Trump asks them to do. And that's the bottom line while they're doing all this with the Hunter Biden. They're trying to connect President Joe Biden with Hunter Biden in some way so they can work out some kind of impeachment in either an investigation or go all out and do it, because Donald Trump wants Joe Biden impeached. And he said, work on it, do it. If it means wasting American taxpayer dollars, do it. That shows how much Donald Trump cares about this planet. I mean, this country. Oh, and the planet, thank you. But they're wasting all this time and money. So it's a revenge thing, and that's what Donald Trump promised if he gets into office again. It's all about revenge. But this was, here's some comments from Representative Liz Cheney as when she was on The View of what she thought if Donald Trump got in office again.
There are some conservatives who are trying to make this claim that somehow Biden is a bigger risk than Trump. My view is I disagree with a lot of Joe Biden's policies. Yeah. We can survive bad policies.
He's not crazy.
We cannot survive torching the Constitution.
That's right.
It's not even the same level of this. The Republican Party itself is clearly so caught up in this cult of personality that it's very hard to imagine that the party can survive. I think increasingly it's clear that once we get through 2024, we're going to have something else, something new. I believe the country has to have a party that's based on conservative principles and values where we can engage, with the Democrats on substance and on policy. We've seen authoritarians operate exactly like Donald Trump is operating in other parts of the world. And what we know is they can't do it alone. Yeah. And so, you have a small number of people who actually elected officials who believe what he's saying. But there's a much larger number who know it's not true, but whether for political advantage or because they're afraid, because they just say they want to keep their head down, they've decided to go along. And history is going to hold them accountable.
Yeah, those are the ones that really get under my skin. A lot of these Republicans that want nothing to do with Donald Trump, but yet they're right in line with him, saying nothing. But, they do talk in the hallways, these guys whispering to each other how much they hate Donald Trump. And I know a lot of people don't believe it, but, they're telling and talking to one another, insulting him and saying this guy's a joke. But yet they all stand in order, ready to take the instructions on what to do next. And they're all silent in the chambers because they don't want to lose their jobs over the country. They'd rather see this country divided, fighting with each other like we are right now, and going crazy than having them lose their own jobs. I mean, it's sad and pathetic. Just a handful of Republicans that finally stood up and said, enough is enough. And those handful are gone. They had to quit. They had to lose their job. But they did it for the country. They did it for, I guess, their own self-respect. And they did it because they were tired of what's going on, and they finally stood up and just said it. And it's unfortunate it's only a handful. And the other ones, all with their marching orders in line, the ones that are silent, see no evil, hear no evil. You know, they're keeping their jobs. They're not the ones that are supporting this country. By all means, they're supporting themselves. And it's pretty sad and pathetic. Those are the ones that are really aggravating. I mean, it's aggravating that what they do and what they get away with, only because who knows what's next? I mean, what's going to happen next? If Donald Trump gets into office, what is going to happen next? How long are these people going to stay silent and keep taking marching orders from him? It's been time and time again, and they just continue to just... It was over. You know, it was basically over after the election. But the one that brought it back to life was Kevin McCarthy, and thank God he's out. That's one thing about Matt Gaetz, I got to say. He done good. He did a good job. What cracked me up about that whole thing is when they were making statements in the House, and Matt Gaetz was on the Democrat side making his statement against his fellow Republicans to try to oust Kevin McCarthy. I like that because Kevin McCarthy brought back Donald Trump. He brought him back to life. It would have been all over if he had not flown over there and took his picture and said how great he was and blah, blah, blah. And then now it's starting all over again. And here we are worried about him getting into office again. This is what's happening. So that's how it ended up. I mean, that's how it is. And people always say, you know, why are you always attacking him? Listen, if anybody doesn't see the danger and the destruction that Donald Trump has done so far and what he can do in another 4 years, as a centrist, as a moderate, as most, probably 99% of people in the middle, they do not want him back in office again. That's the bottom line. That's it. I mean, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that doesn't happen. And I think a lot of people that basically are in the middle, moderate, centrists, they're going to do whatever they can. There's a lot of organizations out there. There's a lot of websites. There's a lot of people on the ground doing whatever it takes to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. And hopefully it won't.
Alan, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. It means so much to us. I used to be a Republican. I'm still Republican. I'm a moderate Republican. I am a Republican against Trump. And for the radical right domestic terrorists, they're going to call me a rhino, and I wear that with pride because you are correct. If Donald Trump gets into office again, this country is going to be under a dictatorship. It's probably going to be under martial law until everybody comes into order to bow to him and to kiss his feet. And for those that don't, like he said, he wants to start creating these lockups and rounding people up. He sounds like a radical, demented dictator, and we just can't have that. And I want to do whatever I can do to help the situation to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't get into office again. But I just wanted to call and say thank you so much for fighting the fight and speaking up, and it means so much to all of us that are basically fighting to make sure that our democracy and the states remain united and not divided. Thank you.
Well, thank you. It does mean a lot. And like I say, and I tell the people on the right, that this is not an attack on Republicans. It's an attack on Republicans that are supporting a man that has no interest in this country. This man has no interest in the flag, in the Constitution. This man has interest in himself. And whatever benefits himself, that is what motivates him. That's what drives him. So when he says that if he gets into office again, it's going to be a term of revenge, believe him. He's not lying. He wouldn't say that. I mean, he lies a lot, but that's one thing that he's not lying about. So, yeah, I mean, people don't believe that I used to be a Republican. And I am a centrist now, but I'm basically a centrist Democrat, a moderate Democrat, because there's a lot of things I don't like that the Democrats do either. A lot of things that they focus on is just so ridiculous, so insane. And I just sometimes shrug my shoulders and say, what the hell is going on? So really, both sides, the radical left and the right, they've got to stop running this country. It's crazy, and we have to get back to some kind of normalcy. And I think the only way that can happen is for the moderates to really take control of the situation this year, to stop the loud voices from the left and the right and say, listen, we're not going to put up with this anymore. We're not going to take it anymore. We're going to bring this divided States of America back to United States of America and stop bowing down to these radical voices that want to take control of this country. And that's the bottom line. That's what has to happen. And I think more and more people are becoming centrist, independent, moderates, because they're tired of this two-party system where we sit there just listening and watching these crazy nut jobs try to take control of the country. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Who do you think you're fooling? You're nothing but a garbage mouth liberal, a libtard, if you will. You are just nothing but a psychopathic liberal. You are a snowflake like the other caller called you. You're trying to convince people you used to be a Republican. You were never a Republican. You don't sound like one. You say everything for the left. You never give the right a chance to talk. You're constantly whining about Donald Trump, who is going to be president in 2024. Just accept it and move on. You're going to need to, if he becomes president again, you're going to need to do what all of us do, is appreciate the amazing man that he is, appreciate everything that he did when he was in office the last time. He built that wall. He stopped those dirty Mexicans from coming into the United States and taking our jobs. He did all of that, and then libtard Biden stopped it, tore down the wall, allowed all these people back in. They're taking our jobs. They're taking our insurance coverages. They're ripping us off. They're stealing. They're selling drugs, just like Donald Trump said. He was so right. He made all these claims that were true, and none of you believed him ever. And now he's going back into be in office again, and you guys are crying and whining because you're wondering how this is happening again. It's happening again because people of the United States want to see him be president again. Period. Bottom line. Goodbye. No response needed.
I love the way what they do is they'll make their statement and run. You know, it's like when somebody hits somebody and then runs the opposite direction. I'm not going to respond, so I promise you that. There's nothing to respond to other than that was a good one. I mean, I love when they attack and run. They don't want to hear the truth. The truth to them, they're in a completely different universe, and that's the bottom line. Working in news, we get emails all the time. We get feedback all the time, and we can always tell the ones that just absolutely refuse to listen to the truth. They don't want to hear what's actually happening. They have created their own universe. And I blame, once again, slanted media, because these people absorb it all day long. They hear that as truth, and most of it is nothing but lies and slanted propaganda to benefit the media itself and their advertisers. and these people absorb it. So I really don't blame them directly, because they listen to stuff all day long, and they end up believing it. So when the truth actually does come out, they're frustrated. They just can't believe that they're hearing something they've never heard before, and they get angry and lash out. But you know what? Let them have their feedback. Let them make their comments, because it gives them an opportunity to release some energy, if you will. Well, that's it. We had quite a show today, and I hope you enjoyed yourself, because I know I did, getting both sides of the story and expressing some of my concerns. And we'll do it again very soon. So keep listening to Stuck in the Middle radio show on truthcast.com, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Hi, everyone. I'm your best friend, back in town again.